So we've now got this ridiculous situation where Ford in the UK are not recalling these cars with the same problems, even though their own parent company has already admitted there is a fault. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This video is sponsored by VehicleScore. VehicleScore is a free vehicle checking service which you can visit by going to vehiclescore.co.uk. Simply type in your registration number to get your free unique score. Your score is unique to your vehicle and you can compare it to the vehicles in VehicleScore's database. It uses information such as the MOT and mileage history, but also gives you lots of free information as well about your vehicle, whether that's information on the vehicle data itself, estimated valuation, gives you an estimated lifespan of the car, gives you all the mileage history, all the MOT history. It gives you lots of free information, and if you want more you can get more because VehicleScore offers some of the most comprehensive checks out there. Their checks will make sure your vehicle has never been involved in an accident, never been recorded on an insurance database, whether a Cat N or a Cat S, has never been a unrecorded write-off. That's where the vehicle has gone through a salvage auction and may have been sold without you knowing that it's been previously damaged. It also checks to make sure the vehicle has got no outstanding finance on it, make sure it hasn't been used as a taxi, imported or exported. The checks are some of the best value you'll find out there, and best of all, you get a discount for being a Car UK viewer. Simply type in Car UK 20 to any of those paid checks and you will get 20% off. But remember guys, the basic service is completely free, so simply go to vehiclescore.co.uk and give them a try. Hi there, welcome back to the channel, and an update video we're going to do now on the Ford Ecoboost saga. So I did a video in January of this year basically talking about the recall on the Ford 1-litre Ecoboost engine. It was the first time that Ford had ever admitted a fault with their wet belt system. So I thought it'd be a good video to make, and obviously you agree because the response to that video was huge. And I had so many emails from people, and still get emails today, every single day, about failures with the Ecoboost, what they've experienced here in the UK and abroad too. Now that video got picked up quite widely and also got picked up by the BBC, who contacted me for some more information, and now I'm able to actually talk about what's happened since then and what we need to be doing next as well to put pressure on Ford, because this matter has not gone away. And even after the BBC Watchdogs on the One Show on the Wednesday the 28th of February put out that video, link is in the description, explaining what they'd found as well, their researchers had found, talking about the recall in the US and how it's not being acted here in the UK. We definitely need to put pressure on Ford here in the UK to deal with this problem, because I believe the same issue with cars as current here in the UK, and it's not being dealt with. And you guys have contacted me as well, suffering exactly the same problems as affected from the original recall from Ford in the US. So let's first of all go back and explain about the recall itself, because there was some confusion with that. So basically the recall itself originated from the United States. So the Ford Ecoboost engine is sold there, although it's not particularly very popular, the 1-litre, but nonetheless it was sold there, and the car's effective around 2016 to around 2022. Now what basically happened was there's been a couple of accidents in the US where the 1-litre Ecoboost engine is basically the belt, the wet belt has degraded, clogged up the vac pump, which controls the turbocharger, but more importantly controls the braking system. Now that braking system then clogs up and effectively you lose servo assistance on your brakes, and then effectively you have no brakes, and it is particularly dangerous, and there has been a couple of accidents because of that. Now actually some class action was being formed in the US, so Ford decided to do a joint investigation with the National Safety Executive in the United States, who reported back in the beginning of the year, effectively highlighting an issue with the 1-litre Ford Ecoboost engine with the tensioner arm effectively sort of basically falling apart. That would cause the belt to sort of shear off, break teeth off, catch in a sprocket, and then effectively to start to degrade the belt. Now this was highlighted by Ford to be an issue particularly with the 6F15 automatic transmission. Now in Ford's view, this 6F15 automatic transmission was causing effectively further vibration, which was causing this tensioner arm to fail, and that's why the belts were effectively wearing far too quickly. So because a safety element was involved here due to the braking system, Ford and the regulator in the US basically issued a recall for 140,000 vehicles in the US to be recalled for a new updated wet belt system to be placed on the vehicle and tensioner, effectively resolving this problem. Now the key thing here is that the recall in the US has no bearing here in the UK. Now, you could say that might be because the engines or the automatic transmission mentioned in this recall are not relevant to the UK and Europe. But that is just not true, because the engines, the 1 litre Ecoboost, is produced here in Europe. In fact, it's made in 3 plants, 2 in Germany and 1 in Romania. So the same engines fitted in the US are built here in Europe and also in UK cars as we speak. Even the 6F15 transmission is fitted to a whole range of Fords here in the UK. It's fitted in all types of Fords for many, many years, including the Fiesta, the EcoSport, Focus, to name but a few. So the question is now, why is Ford in the UK not doing anything about this recall? Because as far as what I can see, and I would love to be corrected, the same engines affected in the US are produced and are in vehicles here in the UK, married to exactly the same transmission as mentioned in the recall document. Now, key thing to mention here as well, although Ford have pointed out in this US recall that the automatic transmission is the cause of this issue, that does not explain why manual transmission vehicles here in the UK are also suffering with the same problem, i.e. the belt is degrading and then causing loss of braking. In fact, I've been contacted by numerous people who have suffered exactly this problem, and even one was mentioned in the Watchdog report. So I think there is an argument there to suggest that it's not just isolated to this 6F15 automatic transmission, and that actually even manuals seem to be suffering with the same problems mentioned in the recall document regards to loss of braking. But yet Ford in the UK are still adamant they are not going to recall these vehicles and fix the faults, which are clearly here in cars in the UK as we speak. Now, what are the reasons for that? Well, we don't actually know, but we could probably take an educated guess. You see, the cars being recalled in the US, about 140,000. Bear in mind the 1 litre Ecoboost affected wasn't particularly very popular in the US, and pretty much all of them, by the way, were fitted with automatic transmissions, so bear that in mind, is small numbers in comparable to what's been sold here in the UK and Europe. Now, I don't have the exact figures, but I would hazard a guess that it's considerably more cars affected in the UK and Europe than they are in the US. Now, unless Ford can come out with a really good reason as to why these engine and boxes fitted in cars in the UK are not affected with this problem that is in the US cars, even though they're all produced in the same place, then I'd love to hear it. But from what I can see, the research that I've done, there is nothing to suggest otherwise to that. So we've now got this ridiculous situation where Ford in the UK are not recalling these cars with the same problems, even though their own parent company has already admitted there is a fault. I mean, it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I think the pressure needs to build here, and the fact the Watchdog report highlighted this is going to make a big difference, and that pressure needs to be put on Ford. They need to be dealing with this problem. They should be recalling these vehicles. I cannot see any reason why they should not be recalled, because it's the same problem affecting the same cars. This is to do with braking systems, by the way. It's a serious issue. You guys have already commented as well, and I've had emails from people who've experienced exactly the same fault. Now, Ford have acknowledged to say they are aware of issues with the Ford wet belt system, and when issues have arisen where the timing belts have failed prematurely and the customer has full service history within less than 7 years, they will help towards that. That does not mean necessarily they will replace them for free. It might be the case that they contribute towards it. But nonetheless, I don't think that is good enough. In fact, Ford even claim that their wet belt system should be lasting 150,000 miles. And when you make claims like that, where belts are falling apart not even half that mileage, you have to ask what is going wrong here. And to me, I think it's down to the fact that these wet belt systems are just not fit for purpose. So here is hoping that Ford will do the right thing and start to recall these cars. Now, I am extremely skeptical that is going to happen. In the meantime, pressure does need to build. With thanks to the likes of Watchdog and you guys getting in touch, that has helped the cause. I don't see any reason why Ford should be trying to dodge this. And if they can come up with a very good reason, we would love to hear it. I'm sure Watchdog would love to hear it as well. But from what we can gather so far, I don't think they have a good enough reason not to be recalling these vehicles. And finally as well, there are companies out there, if you are basically unable to get anywhere with Ford, who will repair these engines. Now, I'll put a couple of links in the description of some companies that I've come across, and have also been recommended to me. I know third-party people have used them for rebuilding the Ford engines. There's a couple of really good firms out there who are specialising in the rebuild of these engines day in, day out, using proper genuine or OE parts, uprated parts in some cases as well. So it's always going to be cheaper to go to one of the smaller specialists mentioned in the description over Ford. And those people who are on a tight budget, you know, some people have had to pay thousands and thousands of pounds out, even with goodwill, to get their car fixed by Ford. So if I can help in any way with putting those details there of some good companies who I believe can help people out there get their cars back on the road, then that can only help, surely. But in reality, we just want Ford to repair these engines, particularly the ones mentioned in the recall in the US. That is the bare minimum that I believe they should be doing. So thank you guys for watching this update on the Ecoboost engine. And apologies, I've left it this late, but I had my reasons. I couldn't do anything until the Watchdog documentary came out. But that is now done. We need to build that pressure. Here's hoping Ford to do the right thing. So thank you for watching again, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you all in the next one.